When I'm exhausted and everyone's hungry and I still don't have dinner on the table, which is about every night around here lately, meals with very little hands-on time are my go-to. And since I've been in a little bit of a cooking funk or a rut, I've been thinking about ways to simplify my recipes so that way we can still have food on the table, but I just don't have to do much work. So I'm going to share with you what I've learned about that along the way. One of the easiest ways to reduce the energy output when you are cooking is to make recipes that can be made on one skillet, one sheet pan, or in one pot. So here I am making a chicken meatloaf sheet pan meal with veggies. So I just took about 1.5 pounds or so of ground chicken and I threw in some panko, breadcrumbs, some freeze-dried herbs. You could use regular dried herbs or fresh herbs, salt, pepper, freeze-dried garlic powder, and freeze-dried onion powder. And I'm mixing all of that together to make the meatloaf mixture. This is really inspired by meatballs because I've recently embarked on a new health journey and I've been meeting with a dietitian every other week or so, and she recommended making ground chicken meatballs as a way to get healthy protein that can be used in versatile ways in your meals. But during these times when I just don't feel like cooking, or if I'm just so busy that I don't have the time to cook, I really don't want to make a lot of meatballs. But a meatloaf is basically a giant meatball, so I'm making it as a sheet pan meal. Anytime you're trying to reduce the effort in cooking, it's helpful to think about where you can take many steps and combine them into one. So instead of making a bunch of meatballs, can you make just one giant meatball? Instead of making a bunch of pancakes, can you make one big skillet pancake? Instead of chopping up a bunch of chicken, can you just throw some chicken breasts in the oven and make them at one time? Here, I just gently shaped that into sort of a meatloaf kind of shape and put it in the center of a hot skillet. And then I'm just surrounding it with some rough chopped onions and bell peppers. Anytime I'm trying to take it easy with cooking, I really lean on chopping veggies pretty big so that way I just don't have to spend so much time cutting them. But also for sheet pan meals, they do a little bit better when you cut them bigger because they don't overcook so easily. I have made a sheet pan meatloaf with ground beef before and it was fine, but it's really greasy. I much prefer the chicken because it isn't so greasy and the vegetables still turned out nice and tender, but without all the grease from the meat. I roasted this at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 35 minutes or so, and then I served it with a little drizzle of Thai chili sauce. And not only was this absolutely delicious, it was made from scratch and it took only about 10 minutes of hands-on time to make. Now, if you thought that sheet pan meatloaf was easy, this slow cooker broccoli cheese soup is even easier, if you can believe that. So I recently got a new crock pot and I really like it and I've been using it over and over again. And lately I have been using it to really simplify how I'm making meals. So here I am just throwing in some diced onion, a bag of frozen diced potatoes. They're often sold as Southern hash browns. And then I'm pouring in some frozen broccoli. I suppose historically I'm more of a fresh vegetable person, but as my daughter is getting older and I have to take her to more gymnastics classes and to school and all these other things, I have been relying a lot more on frozen vegetables and they are great for slow cooker soups. So I can't encourage you enough to stock your freezer up with just some simple veggies that you can throw in the slow cooker for a soup because it really makes life easier. I'm simply seasoning this with a little bit of salt, some freeze-dried garlic powder, and some freeze-dried parsley. You could season it any way you want. And of course you could use fresh parsley or dried parsley, fresh garlic or dried powdered garlic too. It's totally up to you. And then I am pouring in 1 box of chicken broth. Anytime I make a creamy soup, I usually use about 1 box of broth, but really what I'm looking for is to make sure that the broth almost covers the ingredients, but not entirely. Those veggies will cook down and release their own liquid. So if you add too much liquid to it, by the time it cooks down, it's going to end up being too brothy. I let this cook on low all day. And then as soon as we got home from gymnastics, I just threw in my immersion blender and blended this up. An immersion blender is really key for simple creamy soups. It's a huge pain to transfer that stuff to a blender and deal with it. I have found that an immersion blender is just way faster. When I was going back to edit this video, I saw that it took me 2 minutes to blend the soup. So that's not long at all. And I didn't have to worry about dirtying another dish, transferring things, all that hot liquid in the blender. It's just easier and faster. Then I threw in some heavy cream, a little bit of shredded cheddar cheese, and I'm just stirring that in. Now this recipe takes a little bit of pre-planning because I let it cook for about 6 hours. So you would need to have it going before dinner time, of course, but it only took me somewhere between 7 and 10 minutes of hands-on time. So it is really low effort. I have a few more low effort recipes I'm going to share with you in just a few minutes, but here I am making some sourdough French bread. And I know that is not a low effort thing, and I would never venture to argue that making bread is low effort because it does take time, even though it isn't difficult to do. But I am recipe testing some sourdough French bread. I'm going to use that for another low effort meal. But while I'm making the dough, I just want to share a few tips for low effort cooking. So as I mentioned before, anytime you can make things in one pot, in one pan, or one skillet, it is always easier to do that. I also always recommend keeping any chopping to a minimum, and it is easier if you can to chop everything in advance. So if you have the opportunity to do so, say on a Sunday reset or something, chop some onions, chop some peppers, get all of your veggies ready to go. So that way you can just start throwing things together into meals during the week. Don't overthink seasonings. Just lean on things like salt, pepper, and some basic staples: garlic powder, onion powder, parsley, basil, Italian seasoning. They will get the job done. We keep a handful of hot sauces and barbecue sauces on hand. We really like the Kinder's barbecue sauces, and they can just make meals more interesting and add flavor without any extra work. Rely on any kitchen appliance that doesn't need your attention, like an Instant Pot or a slow cooker, something that you can set and forget, and then stock your freezer with freezer meals and frozen veggies and frozen meats that you will actually use. And that's actually a really good segue into the next recipe, where I'm going to show you how to make a slow cooker dump and go bag. And I really hate the term dump and go bag. I'm sorry, it's just what it's called. There has to be something better to call it, but for now, that's what I'll call it. So a dump and go slow cooker bag is just a bag full of ingredients for a meal that's frozen that you throw into the slow cooker. So recently I filmed a full slow cooker freezer meal video, which I think comes out next week. So stay tuned for that. But in that, I made cook-oven meatballs, which is ironic because I said I don't have time for meatballs. But if you prep meatballs in advance, they actually make a really easy slow cooker meal. So in this bag, I think it's about 16 meatballs, some chopped carrots, some sliced bacon, and then a red wine sauce that's been in my deep freezer. I simply dumped that right into my slow cooker, turn it on low, and let it cook for about 4 hours. What's really cool about a dump and go meal like that is you could just stop right there and that's your dinner. Now, I was prepping this in the afternoon and my daughter wanted some macaroni, so I am making a double, maybe even a triple batch of macaroni, so that way we can eat this with the meatballs and some of our other meals throughout the week, which is always a tip for low effort cooking. If you are making one thing, make a double or triple batch of it, especially something like noodles or rice or maybe even slow cooker wheat berries, where it literally takes you no extra time at all to double or triple it up. So I actually wanted to add some more carrots into this recipe. You definitely don't have to do anything else to a dump and go slow cooker meal, but if you prefer, you can doctor them up however you want. I opted to let the meatballs cook a little bit and then add the carrots in, so that way they would be cooked equally with the frozen carrots. But let's say you have a batch of meatballs, then you just want to turn it into spaghetti sauce. You can throw in a jar of sauce with it while it's still frozen. Or you want to turn it into a meatball soup. You can throw in the other ingredients with it and let it cook. So it really is versatile and you can add to it if you want to. But what I really like about them is you don't have to do anything else. So other than chopping up the carrots, which took me about, maybe 90 seconds, this took me about 2 minutes to prep all in all. Of course, there was the hands-on time a week or so ago when I made the freezer meal, but today when it's busy and I don't have the energy, it took me about 2 minutes to make. I served this over some of those macaroni noodles. This is very good on mashed potatoes, but mashed potatoes are definitely not low effort cooking. They're not hard, but they're not low effort. And then I drizzled it with a little bit of this sauce, of course, topped it with the meatballs and some of those cooked carrots, and it was so easy and so delicious. Okay, last up, I am making some French bread pizzas on that sourdough French bread. Pizza isn't difficult to make, but I think it's often mislabeled as something that's low effort or easy. And really, to make a homemade pizza, it requires a fair amount of work. You have to have some sort of dough rolled out. You have to have all the ingredients chopped and ready to go. So it isn't always always super easy or super low effort. But if you have something like a loaf of bread, like in this case, some homemade sourdough French bread, if you have French bread from the store, English muffins, my husband often uses tortillas, any sort of bread base, you can make a really easy low effort pizza. Now, in full disclosure with this bread, I did underproof it. I was having a really weird day. I was washing a knife and cut my finger. I tripped and hurt my knee. I got stuck in a traffic jam. I don't know. Everything was really weird. And at some point, I just decided I didn't want to wait anymore for the bulk fermentation. So I just kept moving with the recipe and it worked out just fine. When we are talking about low effort cooking, we are not talking about perfect cooking. And if that means sometimes you have under fermented bread, then that's what it means. If it means sometimes you had bread from the grocery store, then that's what it means. And all of that is okay. For my bread bakers out there here, I am simply just scoring the dough. And then I'm doing an open bake, which is where I have a skillet of water to create steam in the oven. And that just helps create a better rise and a better crust with bread that you aren't making in a cast iron Dutch oven. So as you can see here, it browned the crust and it just helped them get a little bit of a better oven spring. For the French bread pizzas, the next day for lunch, I'm just slicing up this bread. So I cut it once in the middle and then I took each of those halves and cut it long ways down the middle. So that way I have 4 slices of bread to make as pizza. You could cut them up into smaller pieces if you wanted to do little individual pizzas, but it was just a little easier and a little faster to do it this way. If you look at the bread and see those big holes, the giant tunneling or those big holes is a telltale sign of under fermentation. So if your bread ever looks like that, let it ferment a little bit longer the next time. But either way, it worked out totally fine. I just smothered it in some tomato sauce. It's just pizza sauce from the store, some shredded mozzarella cheese. On half, I added pepperoni and the other half I left just cheese for my daughter. And then I baked these in the oven at 425 for about 15 minutes. As long as your base is pre-made and ready to go, whether that's homemade French bread, store-bought, or any other type of base that you're using, this will take you about 5 minutes of hands-on time to make, and it is delicious, and it makes a really easy and delicious lunch or dinner. Thanks so much for stopping by today, and I'll see you again next time.